If you've recently been in a car crash, you're probably wondering,
Who's going to pay for all these medical bills I'm receiving? Look, if you're injured, the last thing you want to think about
is who's responsible for footing that bill? But it's a crucial part of the process and it's important for you to understand. In today's video, we're going to break down who's responsible for paying for your medical expenses after a car crash in Louisiana and how to make sure that you're properly compensated. Hey, I'm Bourgeois, your Louisiana injury attorney.
I spent years helping injured people just like you fight back when insurance companies and medical providers try to take advantage of them.
If you've been in a crash and need someone in your corner, give me and my team a call at 504-882-9867 for a free consultation. Look, car crashes are unexpected and can leave you not only physically injured, but also dealing with the stress of mounting medical bills. Whether it's an emergency room visit, physical therapy, or, in more serious cases, long-term care, understanding who will cover those costs is essential to ensuring that you don't get stuck with the financial burden. In Louisiana, the process for handling medical bills after a crash can be complicated. Let's walk through some key options you have for paying your medical expenses after a crash and how to ensure that you ultimately receive the financial justice you deserve. After a car crash, the medical bills can start piling up quickly, and the costs, they can be overwhelming. There are various types of medical bills that you may incur depending on the severity of your injury. First, you may need emergency transport to the hospital. Ambulance services can be costly, and sometimes emergency medical transport is the only option if you're in a critical state. Then once you're in the hospital, you'll be facing emergency room charges for initial treatment and other tests like x-rays or CT scans, as well as the cost to stabilize you. In more severe cases, if you're admitted to the hospital, you're going to incur those hospital admission fees like room charges and doctor charges and nurse charges and other hospital staff and medication charges. If you need surgery, you're going to have additional costs for the procedure, for the anesthesia and post-surgery care. You might also need medications. Man, and those prescription costs can add up quickly as you recover. Once you get out, you may need some follow-up care like physical therapy, specialist visits, or even renting some medical equipment. All of these things will contribute ultimately to how much you're going to be expected to pay for your medical expenses. Sometimes, even the emotional toll from the crash leads to a need for mental health treatment, things like therapy or psychiatric care. All these bills can be overwhelming, especially if you're out of work due to your injuries. And the medical providers don't make it easy. While the provider, the hospital may be covered under your insurance, the emergency room physician group may not. You may be getting different bills from different providers and not even know who treated you. So how do you start paying for all these bills? Let's break down some of the options. If you have MedPay coverage in your auto insurance policy, it can help cover some of the medical costs you incur after a crash. MedPay is a type of car insurance coverage that you have to buy separately. Many people have it. This can be used regardless of who's at fault. It's usually a lower limit, like $5,000, but as long as you can show that you are being charged $5,000 or less or more, whatever you can show that you've paid or are being charged, turn it over to your insurance company and they'll send you a check for it. However, not everyone has MedPay, and those coverage limits probably not going to cover all of your medical expenses, especially if you have significant injuries. If you don't have MedPay, your health insurance should step in to cover most of your medical costs up front. But don't forget, health insurance requires copays, deductibles, and sometimes certain treatments might not be fully covered, or in certain situations, like we talked about earlier, you may go to the hospital, which is in your plan, but the emergency room personnel or another doctor who treated you may not be covered. It can be a mess. And while your health insurance may pay up front, they're likely going to seek reimbursement once the case is resolved. If neither of these options are available to you, you may need to pay some bills out of pocket, which is going to add to your financial stress. Another option is treatment on a lien. Some medical providers will treat your injuries as long as you promise to pay them back out of any settlement or judgment. In those cases, you'll have to sign a document or have your attorney send a letter of protection or accept a medical lien from that provider. In addition, you may be able to look into some pre-settlement funding, which is going to look at the potential liability in the case, the potential coverage in the case, and your damages, and pay you up front an amount that's usually going to be substantially less than what your case is worth, but you may need this to get the treatment you need. This can be helpful if you're waiting for your claim to be processed and need immediate funds to cover medical costs and really don't have any other good options. When your personal injury claim is settled, it may feel like a big relief, but it's going to be important for you to understand how the medical bills will be handled. If you use health insurance to pay for your medical care, your insurance company may have a right to be reimbursed from your settlement. This process is called subrogation or reimbursement, and it's typically written within the policy. And it means that your health insurer can require you to pay back the amount that they paid for your treatment. This ensures that your health insurance company is compensated for the expenses that they've already paid out on your behalf in which you receive back from another insurance company. Likewise, if you had MedPay coverage and your auto insurance covered those medical expenses, they're going to want reimbursement. In both cases, it's important to consult with your attorney as they can work with your insurance companies to help ensure that the amounts being requested you pay back are correct and fair. Your lawyer should also help you determine what's owed, and they'll make sure that your settlement isn't unfairly reduced by duplicative charges or charges that are unrelated to your injury. Additionally, if you've received treatment from medical providers who haven't been paid yet because they've treated you on a lien, they're going to want to be paid as well. In Louisiana, these healthcare providers have 30 days after your settlement to file a lien with you or your attorney, and that will require that you pay the outstanding medical bills directly from the settlement. Navigating the process of paying medical bills after a car crash can be tricky, but a personal injury lawyer is going to be an essential guide for you through this entire process. A good lawyer will ensure that all medical providers are contacted, that the billing statements are correct, that there are no duplicates, and that all the charges are related only to your injury. A good lawyer will also coordinate the subrogation process with your health insurance and auto insurance company, helping to make sure that all reimbursements are handled correctly. Furthermore, they can work with healthcare providers to potentially reduce some of your bills through settlement negotiations if the amount ultimately recovered is not sufficient to pay everyone, including you. The complexity of medical liens, insurance claims, and the need to make sure fair reimbursement takes place, it's crucial to have a knowledgeable lawyer on your side. You shouldn't have to worry about paying bills yourself when you're in the midst of recovery. Instead of receiving your settlement and trying to figure this all out on your own, a good lawyer is going to manage the payments, directly handling all the necessary details, hopefully taking all the financial burden off of you and allowing you to focus on your recovery. After a car crash, the last thing you need is the added stress of dealing with medical bills. There's several ways to handle the medical expenses, but it's vital to have a personal injury lawyer help ensure that the process goes smoothly. If you or someone you care about has been injured in a crash and you're looking for an experienced attorney who will help get you the compensation you deserve and help you take care of the medical bills that are sure to come at the end of the case, reach out to us today at 504-882-9867. And if you found this video helpful, hit that subscribe button and check out this next video.